Alright guys, quick tip. It's blowing like 40 to 50 mile per hour gusts right now in West Texas. But anyway, I forgot to make a note of this, but on the power steering pump, this is the one that came with the swap. So I think anywhere from 2000 and up or whatever. And the threads that go into the steering box are different because they're metric. They swapped over to metric. So they got these, and then on the truck itself, you have inverted flares. So what you can do to use the pump that came with the swap is get the, they sell these adapter fittings. Let me pull this sucker out real quick. They sell these adapter fittings, and I'm gonna make a little bit of a mess. Oh, it's not too bad. To go from the metric O-ring seal to the inverted flare that the old style, I guess, 70s, probably mid to low 80s GM vehicles used, like these. So it adapts, and also I pulled this off of the stock power steering pump. So this will go in here, right? And then it'll go here, like this. We'll snug this down, and then this one, see how it's inverted flare, but it's male to male, and the fittings here are female. So we'll go here. Oh, wrong way. Inverted flare here. And then the stock power steering hose just goes right there. So I'm going to get this on. Get it back on the truck, and then keep moving. But yeah, I wanted to show you guys that. Pretty sure by now it's pretty common knowledge, but if you didn't know, now you know. All right, you guys, I wasn't gonna keep working on this thing today, but I'm already out here. So we got the power steering lines on. This is the return. It goes back to the pump. And then we also have the high pressure hose. Now the stock one used to go like up around, and then it looped back and went behind the pump. But because of the angle of the hard line, I have to loop it under and then come out and back over. But that's all done. So I just need to plug this up. This is for Hydro Boost. We don't have Hydro Boost. So I'm just gonna plug this. Shouldn't see any pressure, it's basically just a return. So now I'm working on the throttle pedal. So I already unbolted it, but what I'm thinking is that arm hits the fuel rails a little bit, so I'm gonna cut it down about 1.5 inches or so. That way we have full travel on that pedal. And then before I head over there, I'll cut it down. It'll clear the fuel rails, and then I'll make a bracket that'll mount to these 2 bolt holes or somewhere behind the head. That way, we could set the throttle cable like just a tab to mount this on, and then the other end goes to the throttle body itself. Now I'm gonna get all that fabbed up first, and then I'll cut down the throttle pedal, or cut down the throttle cable. So it hits the fuel rail like right here. So I'm gonna cut it down, probably about 1.5 inches, bring this down all together, weld it back up, throw it back on. And these are nice because it's only 3 bolts. It literally goes like this. Boop. So yeah, let's cut this down, and then we'll mock it up, and then I'll probably make the bracket for the cable and then bolt it all together. Let's get it. All right, you guys, the last thing you guys saw, I was modifying the pedal. I got it cut down and painted. I also went ahead and built this bracket for the throttle cable. Got that set up. And then we got the throttle cable completely installed. It works great. Oh, let me see if I can. Oh, it's not all the way back, but you know what I mean. Goes full throttle all the way. It's pretty sweet setup. I just used some aluminum angle for this side of the mount, and then I used a piece of one of the brackets that came with this to weld it all up together, and got these holes drilled to bolt to the intake manifold, and works pretty sweet. So now we just need to start working on fuel lines. I need to order the fuel pump still. I need to drain the tank and then get behind the seat and figure out how we're gonna run the return line to the original sender. My plan, let me get the truck up in the air and I'll get you guys filled in on that. All right, so my plan is to, I'm gonna drain the tank through the original fill line, or at least drain whatever's in the lines from here. This is the tank vent. I need to follow this one and see where it ends up, which might be, it's gonna have to be a side quest to figure that out. But it looks like it goes to a hose that ends up nowhere. Yeah, it goes up to the top, I think. Yep. This is the vent line right here. So I'll leave that alone. Or what I can do is try to reuse that as the return line and then just add a vent hose. The only thing that sucks is that, well, I don't know. I'll figure that out. But we'll drain the tank here, and then I'm thinking of setting up the fuel pump, fuel filter, everything right here, and then just run the return back with the Corvette style regulator to the tank right here somewhere. I'll have to run another line, but yeah, let's get this fuel drained and then start taking some of this stuff apart. And then I need to, I don't think that seat moves. So hopefully I don't gotta pull a seat, but I think I can just unbolt the little side bolts for the backrest part of the seat, and then just lean it forward and I'll be able to get in there. But yep, let's get this fuel taken out, go from there. All right, we got the fuel pump out. Now this, the old pump used to be wired in through this wire all the way to the, under the dash I had a little switch. We're getting rid of all that. I'm gonna run new wire to the pump, which is gonna run off a relay triggered by the ECU. Same thing with the fans. I know Brandon ordered a radiator with electric fans, so I'll add the relays for that as well. So I got these fuel lines disconnected. This is the feed to the engine, and this is the vent. Now, depending on the location of this vent tube. If it's at the very top of the tank, it's gonna have to stay a vent. But if there's a spot where we could add another line for a vent, I think I'll just use this as the return, and then since it's hard line all the way up to the tank, and then leave probably just like a AN hose up to bulkhead to the tank for the vent. But it really just depends where this line is actually at on the tank. So with that in mind, let's get everything out from under the truck, bring it down, and then we can see what we got behind the seat. Also, I'm gonna go ahead and pull this wire all the way out so we're not using it. And then once we get the new fuel pump situated where it's gonna go, then we'll run new wiring from the relay, which I'll probably leave the relay by the battery on the passenger side, and then just run the wire through the frame on the passenger side up there. That way, it's less of this janky stuff with manual switches, and leave the ECU to run everything for the engine. But yeah, let's get it. All right, so this truck, the seat doesn't lean forward, so I'm gonna take this one out on both sides, loosen this one, and we should be able to fold the seat forward to see what we got here. So just gotta be careful with the doors. I don't want to pay for dings and dents and scratches, so I'll try to film as much as I can, but this is kind of a crappy angle, so yeah. All right, here's what we got. So vent line is a no-go. The feed line is here, so we have a little divot right here. This is the level sensor, so I think I'm gonna pull this out, break this line off here. The line should be drained, so we shouldn't get any fuel in here. The only thing that's gonna suck is it might stink like fuel in here. So let's get this off. We'll take this off, and then I'll see if we can put a bulkhead here, and then add a line for the fuel return. So yeah, let's get this out of here. All right, you guys, here's what we got. So this is a stock sander, so it goes inside the tank. Let me move you guys back a little bit. Like so, right? So my plan is to add a bulkhead here, bring in the line, and then bring it down to the same angle as this one. So I'll probably follow this, bring it out, and then just drop it right beside this. It's already kind of tight to get in there, so I'm probably gonna do, I don't know, maybe 4 inches down, just so it's, you know, returning lower than this, so it doesn't try to splash up or something. But yeah, that should work. The pickup goes all the way to the bottom of the tank. There's no sock in this, so we're gonna have to add a filter under the truck. I want to add a filter before the pump, and then we'll have that filter regulator to send it back to the return. So let me see what fittings I can find. I'm thinking I could probably drill and tap this, and then use a NPT fitting, or if not, I got a couple sending units. I could probably clean this up real good, and then weld a tube, like a hard line like this, to this. And then from here, we'll have to figure out how to route it to get it under the truck or under the cab, and go from there. So yeah, let me see what I can figure out, and I'll get back with you guys. Alright guys, here's what I got. So this line is from an old hose that I had originally bought for the Corvette. It's the LT4 direct injection feed line that goes to the high pressure pump. But I never used it because I ended up having to run custom lines anyway, since I'm running port injection on that thing. So, cut it off, welded it to this. I got it hanging out right here. I'm gonna run a hose, secure it to this one, and probably run it about, I don't know, right here or so. The only problem I see with that is that if it's returning like a whole lot, it might just make the float kind of jiggle, but it shouldn't be too bad. I think it'll work. So I'm gonna run it, secure it about right here. Just regular fuel hose right here. He's not running E85, so it doesn't have to be 85 cent hose. So that's a plus. Also with this, I can run one of these. So this thing just pops in there, and then we have a 6 AN line. So from here, I'll run AN hose under the cab, and then go from there. Or I could just put a hose barb, something like, what do we got? Something like this. Something like this. Secure it there and just run regular push lock hose down to the bottom of the tank. And then we got our feed and we got a return. The vent line, that one's tied into the actual fill cap. So that's not gonna work. Either way, we got our return line put in. I'm gonna put this back in the fuel tank and figure out where to route the return line. So yeah, good progress. And here's the finished product. You got the return hose secured, locked in, fittings put in. Now, we just need to go drop it in the tank and move on. All right, y'all. So here's what we got. Here's the finished product. Return line, feed line. Return line is bigger than the feed line just because it's what I had. This is 6 AN line. I used the push lock. I didn't have any push lock hose, but I used regular 6 AN, so that's pretty good. Got it all the way through. I'm gonna get under the cab and cut it and wait for the fuel pump. So I think that's where we're stopped. That's where we'll stop. Yeah, it's Sunday. I'm gonna go hit the gym, come back and chill. So thanks for hanging out. Remember, Jesus loves you. Go to church. Peace.